I haven't talked much about eau de colognes on this channel, and I used to talk a lot about them on the previous channel. But since we are still in summer, it's still hot weather out there, I think eau de colognes are some of the best fragrances you can wear when it's really, really hot outside. So in this video, I've got a top 20 list of various different eau de cologne fragrances. There's a couple of them that are called cologne, but they're eau de toilette concentration, but the majority of the fragrances here are eau de cologne. And if you want to find out what they are, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, eau de colognes are some of the freshest fragrances you can get, lightest fragrances you can get, and they're perfect to wear in the heat. They are usually 2 to 5% oil, so they're going to be very, very light. They have great smells though. One of the most popular colognes happens to be this one right here, 4711, and I've got it featured here. It's a very fresh, Neroli focused, and generally eau de cologne fragrances started out like that, so you do find a lot of citruses and things like that. But Jo Malone makes eau de cologne fragrances, and they do all kinds of stuff. Santa Maria Novella does eau de cologne fragrances, and there's a bunch of other brands as well. I feel like they're still the kind of fragrances you can wear in the summertime, and if you're looking for something new and fresh, these are going to be the ones that you can pick from. And also, if you generally like to wear light fragrances, these are going to be perfectly fine all year round. The only thing is, some of you might like some of these fragrances, but you complain that they don't last as long. I do recommend you to prime them or boost them up with something like Eccentric Molecules Molecule 1. You can also go with Molecule 5. You can do Molecule 2 and or Molecule 4. So these fragrances will enhance the fragrances. Some will be minimalistic and you won't alter the smell. Some will be altering the smell a little bit because there's definitely a smell there. But they'll extend the life a little bit of the eau de colognes. I just wanted to let you guys know that that option is available. You can use those or anything similar to that, like Juliet Has a Gun, Not a Perfume. You just spray that on, let it dry, and then spray the eau de cologne on top. So let's go ahead and get started with the list. We're starting off at number 20 with 4711, the original. This is one of my favorite cheapies I can get, and it's those kind of very uplifting and very, very happy, refreshing kind of a fragrance. It's very light. It's a great after shower fragrance. You can spray it on, probably lasts an hour, not more than that, and it's also very, very cheap. And in fact, these are sold at drugstores in Germany. You can buy them very, very inexpensively there. You can order them from Amazon and things like that. But it's a really great kind of a neroli, bergamot, orange, lemon, lavender aromatics, kind of a combination of notes. It's just a really fresh experience. Again, you can use it like this. It's very, very light. If you're into light fragrances, these are perfect for you. If you want to wear something like this and boost it up with it and prime it with any of the molecules I mentioned, you can totally do that as well. Moving on to the house of ALVAREZ Gomez, this is a fragrance called AGUA de Colonia Concentrada. So to me, this is kind of similar to 4711. It does seem a bit concentrated. It's a little heavier. This is the bottle right here. This is also from Spain, so you can find these probably in Spanish grocery stores or some department stores pretty easily, and also fairly inexpensively. This to me is also a little more lemony in comparison to 4711, and it's lemon, rosemary, bergamot, lavender, and thyme, so there's aromatics in the mix as well. Once again, very light. It's a little stronger than 4711, but you can also extend the life a little bit with any of those fragrances that I told you about. You can use as a primer. So moving on to the house of BVLGARI, this is VERT. So BVLGARI's Take collection of fragrances are eau de cologne concentration. This is a fragrance created by Jean-Claude Ellena, and this is definitely green tea experience, but a very powdery take on green tea. It also features notes of bergamot, cardamom, jasmine, lemon, musk, coriander, and other woods and spices and flowers. To me, it's definitely lightly spicy, definitely powdery. The green tea is there, and there's definitely a floral presence as well, like the jasmine note comes up. So BVLGARI VERT at number 18. Moving on to the latest release from Hermes' cologne collection. It's Hermes Eau de Basilic Pourpre, this one right here. I just recently picked it up. I'm still a little uncertain about it. I like it, and then something about it is a little bitter. but it's definitely focusing on basil. If you like the idea of basil, definitely a great scent. This is created by Christine Nagel. Christine Nagel replaced Jean-Claude Ellena over at Hermes, so we've got both of the names in this list. The other thing is Christine Nagel's name is going to come up several times in this list, so many, because she's also done Jo Malone, and I've got a bunch of Jo Malone fragrances here. But this, as I said, it does have the basil presence. It's very, very prominent. It also has geranium, bergamot, patchouli, spices. It also has the Hermes DNA. You can totally smell the Hermes DNA in here. It's very, very prominent. I'm still kind of working on it. I like it, but then something in there just rubs me the wrong way. But other than that, I really think it's a great scent. This is Hermes Eau de Basilic Purple Basil, I guess. So try it out if you like it. There's a bunch of different fragrances in that collection. The colorful bottles from Hermes, they're all Eau De Cologne, so they're going to be very light and not long lasting. And this particular fragrance, I think you can actually use any of the eccentric molecules, fragrances to kind of like boost up the longevity with it. So next up, going to the house of Roger and Gallet. This is Gingembre, ginger basically. So this is a fragrance that has many memories for me. I bought a bottle of this in 2006 on my very first trip to France. When I went there and I was at a pharmacy and they had a whole display of Roger and Gallet, I bought a bottle of ginger, so it always reminds me of that trip. I just recently picked up a bottle because I wanted to bring back memories of that particular trip, and also I'm obsessed with ginger lately. And it doesn't necessarily say Eau de Cologne on here, but with their wording I've basically translated it to a very light experience. So I feel like these are definitely Eau de Cologne like fragrances, very, very light. Roger and Gallet is now owned by L'Oreal, by the way, and this particular fragrance launched in the early 2000s and is created by Jacques Cavalier. It's got Japanese ginger, Jamaican ginger, bergamot, neroli, ambrette, benzoin, and musk. So this particular light fragrance does get eventually, warm because it has the warm notes, benzoin, musk, and ambrette in the base, but it's all very zingy, spicy, fresh up top because ginger is a fresh spice. And I feel like this one, you can actually use any of those, even the ones that have a bunch of smell, like Molecule 5 and Molecule 4 have a very strong smell in comparison to Molecule 1 and Molecule 2. So if you want to extend the life a little bit, definitely try any of them. I would actually test them out to see if they smell good, or you'll be in for a treat for one day. Anyway, Roger and Gallet Gingembre is a great scent. If you don't know it, do check it out. I really love it. As I said, it brings back loads of memories as I wore that back in 2006. Moving on to number 15, going to the house of Hermes once again, and a fragrance created by Jean-Claude Ellena at Hermes. It's Eau de Neroli Doré. Eau de Neroli Doré is a great neroli fragrance. Once again, it has that Hermes DNA. These fragrances have that DNA. They're in there. You can totally smell the DNA for some reason. And this one is definitely a neroli focused fragrance with bitter orange. It has also saffron, so it's a little spicy, a little leathery as well. This is Hermes's take on a neroli. I think they did a pretty good job. Jean-Claude Ellena is a great fragrance. He also does a lot of minimalistic fragrances, and it's definitely prominent here. So this is Hermes Eau de Neroli Doré at number 15. So speaking of Jean-Claude Ellena, I was going to feature some of the Laboratorio Olfativo fragrances that he did, but they call those Parfum Cologne concentrations, so I left them off. But I feel like there's kind of a bit of a technicality there. Moving on to number 14, going to the house of Jo Malone, a fragrance created by Anne Filippo. This is Basil and Neroli. Basil and Neroli is a really great job she did, and I feel like Anne Filippo does like green notes because she's doing, the synthetic jungle and things like that, and this one has a very prominent aromatic green note of basil. Once again, it's neroli, basil, white musk, and vetiver. It's very simplistic. It's also fresh. It's herbal, aromatic, and musky. Really great scent. Jo Malone, Basil and Neroli at number 14. Now this is the technicality here. I'm putting this one as a Eau de Cologne, but it is an Eau de Toilette concentration. This is Mugler's Cologne Come Together. Originally launched as just Mugler Cologne, now it's called Come Together. And if you haven't caught my discontinued fragrances video recently, there's a rumor this is discontinued. It's no longer on the USA website. So what is the deal? But this is a great, great smell. It's neroli, it's orange blossom, it's Petitgrain, it's musk, it's soapy, clean, definitely kind of cologne-esque because it's an Eau de Cologne inspired fragrance. Like, I feel like this is inspired by something like 4711 or things like that. And it's created by Alberto Morillas back in the early 2000s, 2001. This is Fragrances Mugler Cologne. That's the come together version. Now moving on to a Brazilian house I just discovered last couple of months ago in Paris. There's a Brazilian brand called Fibo, and this is Odor de Rosas. This is an Eau De Cologne fragrance, but this to me is a very complex Eau De Cologne fragrance. It is a very unique scent. It's rosy. And it's also a cheapie. This was like 35 or 40 euros Eau De Cologne concentration, but it's got a kind of a dense quality to it for an Eau De Cologne. It's created by a perfumer by the name of Leonardo Lucchesi. Features bergamot, rosemary, geranium, rose, clove leaves, thyme, leather, patchouli, sandalwood. So it's got a smokiness about it. It's got lots of rose, and I feel like it's the idea of toasted roses, if that makes sense, like smoked roses. But it's a very unique smell. It's Eau De Cologne. I feel like it's very, very unique for it. Very inexpensive. I highly recommend it if you like the idea of like smoked roses. So it's Fibo Odor de Rosas. Check that out if you haven't heard about it. Go to their website and see what that's all about. I don't know if they sell it here, but definitely available in the EU, especially in France, because they have a bunch of stores there. So moving on to the House of L'Artisan Parfumeur at number 11, it's Sur l'Herbe, this one right here, a fragrance created by Fabrice Pellegrin. So this is one of 2 Eau De Colognes in this brand. I don't know if the other one exists. I never really dug the other one as much as I like this one, and it's very fresh. Once again, it's very musky and clean, and Neroli bergamot is the 2 main notes in this one, along with green notes, lemons, and there's a little bit of an amber woody experience as well. But it's an Eau De Cologne. It's very fresh, kind of inspired by those kind of Eau De Colognes like 4711. It's a different take on it, but I quite like it. It's soapy, it's clean, it's uplifting, it's very refreshing. L'Artisan Parfumeur Sur l'Herbe is at number 11. Moving on to the House of Guerlain, it is Eau De Cologne Imperial, this one right here. This one dates back to many, many years ago, and really great smell, really great smell. This one brings back memories for some reason. I think as a kid, somebody around me wore this one because it's got that very kind of like unforgettable smell. It's created by Pierre-Francois-Pascal Guerlain, one of the really, really long ago Guerlain family people, but it's citruses, neroli, lemon, verbena, bergamot, lemon, orange, rosemary, cedar, and tonka. I meant lemon verbena, not lemon, and then there's also lemon in the note. So it's very aromatic, it's very citrusy, juicy, and a little aromatic and green as well, with some light woods in the dry down. Either way, this is Guerlain Eau De Cologne Imperial at number 10. Are you a fan of those old cologne fragrances from the house of Guerlain? Do let me know. There's like 4 or 5 of them still in existence. Moving on to the house of Jo Malone once again. It's a Christine Nagel creation. It's wood, sage, and sea salt. And this is definitely one of the really popular Eau De Cologne fragrances from Jo Malone. I feel like it's a crowd pleaser. It smells pleasant. It mixes really well with people's chemistry. It's a little musky. Definitely it's musky. It's got ambrettes in the notes, ambrette note. It's got citruses. It's got that saltiness, so it's a little beachy and also aromatic with the sage. Really great scent at number 9, Jo Malone, wood, sage, and sea salt. Are you a fan of it? Do you like it? Do let me know. A fragrance created by Christine Nagel, who worked at Jo Malone before she went to Hermes. Next, going to the House of Mugler, it's Cologne Fly Away. And this is the other. These 2 are cologne. They're called colognes. In fact, there's a whole series of fragrances in this collection, but to me, my 2 favorites are these 2, and I've been a really big fan of this one lately, Fly Away, created by Sonia Constant, and to me, it's basically grapefruit and cannabis. The combination is unique and really, really great. Juicy, zingy, tart, bitter grapefruit with that kind of camphoric, green, herbal, aromatic cannabis note. I have a friend that actually wears this stuff so much. He's got like 5 backup bottles. He sprays it all the time. He really loves it. It's a great smell. I really dig it, and I'm the one that introduced it to that friend. Anyway, Mugler Cologne Fly Away, really great fragrance. If you don't know it, do check it out. And again, I don't know the technicality, not the technique. I don't know the I don't know what the status with that fragrance is. Just like cologne, cologne is not on the Mugler USA website. Fly Away is. Are they kind of killing that whole collection? Who knows? Alright, moving on to the House of Santa Maria Novella. I haven't talked about them yet. This is Tabacco Toscano, an Eau De Cologne focusing on tobacco. It's a very creamy experience, kind of like a sandalwoody creaminess or gaiac wood creaminess. But it's got tobacco leaf, vanilla, amber, birch, leather, bergamot, musk, gaiac, cedar, and leather. Very, very delicious fragrance. To me, it acts a little gourmandish. I just wish it was a little stronger. It's an Eau De Cologne, but I feel like this will layer so well with eccentric molecules, molecule 4. Because for me, I get get a creamy sandalwood experience, and Eccentric Molecules, Molecule 4 is all sandalwood, Javanol synthetic. Great layering duo there. So it's Santa Maria Novella Tobacco Toscano. Check that out if you don't know it. I'm moving on to Joe Malone once again. We're going to the black bottle one. So they're called Cologne Intense. So it's an Eau De Cologne Intense concentration. So if Eau De Colognes are typically 2 to 5% oil, this maybe is like 7%. Who knows? Somewhere around there. I'm not 100% sure on the concentration. They're calling it a Cologne Intense. Most likely they've increased the concentration. But this is, once again, a Christine Nagel creation. It's oud, bergamot, cedar, orange, and lemon. Very, very popular. I really like this one. The oud is kind of dirty, but it's all contrasted with like fresh citrusy notes and some woods. So it's oud and bergamot from Joe Malone at number 6. Check that out if you don't know it. Moving on to number 5, going back to the house of Roger and Gallet once again. This is Fleur de Figuier. This is a fragrance created by Francis Kurkdjian. I just spoke about him with his new 724, and he did a great job with this one. This is the only one I have. I brought this back from France. Most likely it's available online at the discounters, but it's a great fig fragrance. Fig nectar, fig leaf, fig fruit, mandarin orange, grapefruit, cedar, musk, a little bit of cumin. It's a little spicy. It's definitely fruity and green at the same time. It's very fresh. It's definitely a light fragrance. You'll definitely need something to boost it up a little bit, but as a smell, it's really, really great. And you know, the master perfumer Francis Kurkdjian did that one. He did quite a great job with that one. It smells really great. If you like the idea of fig, but the fruits and the greens itself together, definitely try Fleur de Figuier from the house of Roger and Gallet. Then going back to Santa Maria Novella once again, this is Melograno. So Melograno stands for pomegranate, but this to me does not smell like pomegranates. It smells like a very classic toiletries. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. It just smells classic to me. It reminds me of the 70s. I don't know why, but there was a lot of people I smelled, not smelled like physically smell, but I used to smell wearing fragrance that smelled like this. It's oak moss, apopanax, pomegranate, orris, labdanum, vetiver, fern, tobacco, patchouli, bergamot, and orange. It's an eau de cologne, but a very unique eau de cologne. It smells fantastic. It's a little deeper and richer than your other traditional fresh eau de colognes, but it's that same concentration, just feels a little heavier. This is Santa Maria Novella Melograno at number 4. Moving on to number 3, going back to the house of Hermes, it's Eau de Rhubarbe Écarlate once again. And once again, it's a Christine Nagel creation. I told you there's going to be a lot of Christine Nagel creations here. This to me is probably one of the best fragrances from her. I really love its fruitiness and its kind of light vegetal touches. Rhubarb is a main note along with lantana and musk. If you like the idea of fruity fragrances, definitely try this one. This one to me also I think would be perfect with most of all of these eccentric fragrances. So if you like the idea of this fragrance and you want to boost it up a little bit and you want a little more longevity, try those. Spray it on, let it dry, then spray this on. You're not going to be like doubling the length of time it lasts, but you'll push it for like an hour at the most, an hour and a half. Great scent though. It's really great and fruity. Rhubarbe Écarlate from the house of Hermes at number 3. Somebody recently was commenting and writing down all kinds of comments on every single Hermes video about how they hate Christine Nagel. Do you hate Christine Nagel's fragrances? Are you a fan? Do let me know. I think she did a great job with H24 and the new Eau Givre, and I'm waiting for the new H24. Well, if I haven't shot a video about it yet, I'm waiting for the new H24 Parfum, Eau de Parfum that's coming out. Moving on to the house of Guerlain once again. This is Eau de Cologne Cook, this one right here. Man, this is good. Really, really great fragrance. This is Aimé Guerlain creation. I don't know who that is, but somebody from the Guerlain family. But this one actually next to the Imperial, both of them kind of remind me of it brings back scent memories. I don't know why, but it's a really fantastic Neroli orange blossom fragrance with Neroli, lavender, oak moss, bergamot, citruses, lemons, orange blossom, jasmine. Great smell, very light, eau de cologne. Definitely, you know, it's going to be for the person that wants a fresh fragrances or very light fragrances. But the smell is fantastic. Eau de Cologne Cook from the house of Guerlain at number 2. And guess what my number 1 is? Guess what? Guess what? If I can find it. Here it is. It's a fragrance created by Jacques Cavalier. Go figure. I have 2 Jacques Cavalier, 2 Jean-Claude Ellena, and a bunch of Christine Nagel fragrances. This is from the house of Bulgari. It's Thé Blanc. Really, really delicious. If you saw my Thé Blanc, no, Thé Vert up at the very bottom of the list, This is at the very top because I really love the way this one smells. It's a very, very cozy tea experience, very soothing, very smooth. It's created by Jacques, as I said. It's featuring notes of tea, musk, pepper, bergamot, woods, cardamom, orange blossom, bitter orange, and jasmine. Anyway, that's my number one Eau de Cologne. I really love this one. As you can see, I've worn quite a bit. It goes down pretty easy. And again, this one would layer really great with any of those fragrances, but just if you know what the term mixologist is, when I'm recommending layering, you're gonna have to play around and see what works best. Maybe Molecule 5 might not work with Thé Blanc. Anyway, yeah, test them out and see, and once you find the one that works, wear it and you know, extend the life a little bit. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Eau de Cologne fragrances. Are you a fan of Eau de Colognes? Most of you I know like long-lasting fragrances, but there are a few of you out there that really enjoys fresh, light fragrances, and these you can wear all year round, but they're perfect in the heat. Perfect in the heat. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are on these fragrances. Do let me know of any other Eau de Cologne fragrances. I was going to feature some bonuses, but I decided to leave them off. That's it for today. And other than that, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. And I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.